For some reason, every piece of entertainment I think is good has at least one. 90% of the time it's not even done well, but they get lucky it doesn't hurt them much. One of those is Naruto. I love this show, and even here there is one that isn't done well at all. I mean, you can see here that Kishimoto acknowledges that he didn't really fully focus on it through the story, which is partly why a lot of these shows I consider really good get away with something that should be hurting them tremendously. But because it's usually a very small plotline or character arc, thus the contradictions in them don't hurt the stories as much as ones that happen to bigger plotlines. This video is about why this happens so often and about the mentality that writers have doing it. The main issue I have with this trope is that 90% of the time it contradicts at least one character arc, because it is rarely done right. You see, the reason as to why writers pick this trope is because they think that it can cause shock and tension to the audience. So basically for shock value. There is multiple things that I disagree with here. First of all, shock doesn't equal quality. That just doesn't make sense. I can induce shock by killing every single character I have in a story, one after the other, until I'm left with no character. That would also be shocking, but it wouldn't be good. You can think of a million examples where something was shocking and wasn't good. So since we have established that, let's see how shock value often hurts a story the way it is done. Usually writers are only thinking about the reaction they can have from the audience, forgetting or rather not caring enough about things being consistent and therefore contradict on setups. This is why it feels so forced. It's when you are using an element of a story to create a reaction, but not to improve the quality of the story itself. Now, we can get into the main reason why love triangles hurt a story. In order for you to keep the shock value in a triangle, you would need both love interests to have balanced setups in their arcs throughout the story. If things are unbalanced, then the character that has the most scenes, moments and setups becomes the obvious winner, meaning you don't even get the shock value you wanted with this trope in the first place. As a side note, if the character with the less setups wins, oh boy, while not intrinsically bad, people are gonna be so dissatisfied since the thing you have been building up you just completely drop. So as you can see, the problem isn't with the character that didn't win. Quality-wise, the problem is with the character that didn't. In order for you to keep the setups balanced, you need both sets of setups to lead in the same direction, winning. If instead the setups lead to one of them losing, as in you can tell earlier that they are going to lose, because that is the point of a setup, then you don't have the shock value anymore, which defeats the whole reason most writers decide to include this in the first place. So the character that wins resolves their own arc, while the other either has a resolution that contradicts their setups or aren't even given one at all, which just drops the setups and arcs. You see, that's the main issue. It's the contradicting of character arcs. If the trope isn't really doing that, then it's not really bad, at least not for this reason. A fine example of a love triangle that works is Oregairu. Spoilers. You can tell that Yu is going to lose from pretty early on, and there are hints that Yukino is going to win from pretty early on. You could argue the first moment he stepped in that room, that was the first setup. And this works, because this love triangle isn't meant for shock value, but instead is treated like any other plot trope. Both characters get a resolution because they have different arcs, and thus one's resolution isn't mutually exclusive of the other's. So all of this was from a framework perspective. In practice, what you see most of the time is a writer picking this trope for shock value, then making who is going to win super fucking obvious. So what they end up with is a forced plotline, only annoys the audience, is very obvious, and not shocking at all. Now, let's talk about some of the rhetorics of choosing this type of trope. This section isn't so much about telling you what to do to increase quality, but rather about what increases audience satisfaction more. Remember, quality doesn't equal satisfaction. You can only argue that there is a correlation, but not much else. Because think about it, everyone agrees with this. Everyone has shows that others enjoy that they don't think are good, and they also have shows that they enjoy but others don't think are good. If there can be variety in people's entertainment levels, that implies that quality isn't the determining factor, correct? Great, now let's get specifically into the rhetorics. So, love triangles can cause a lot of dissatisfaction, even if the right character wins, because assuming that you are also invested in the character that loses, which is what a writer is supposed to want from us, right? That's why they write characters. Then they either get their plotline dropped, if the writer fucked it up, which we already talked about, or in the case where they weren't going for shock value, it has a sad resolution because it might have been a sad arc. The point I'm making is that sadder tropes, plotlines, or arcs cause less satisfaction than if you end on a positive one. What I mean by positive and negative arcs here is that the positive here means they improved for the better, while negative means they improved for the worse. Quality-wise, both of these are pretty much equal. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. But entertainment-wise and satisfaction-wise, obviously people enjoy feeling nicer, right? A character that goes through a negative arc has the resolution. Said resolution transforms the arc into a new positive one. It's gonna feel more satisfying than one that ends on a sad resolution. This again doesn't mean they are better quality-wise. It only means that one is more satisfying to the most amount of people. The point that I am making is that you can have two ways of writing something of equal value. However, one could be more enjoyable. So you basically get marketing points without sacrificing any quality. If you learned anything, like this video. If you have disagreements or additional thoughts, you can comment down below. I'd love to see if I have missed anything. Anyway, be nice in the comments, and thanks for watching.